Coach, I know that obviously, you made several additions to your room coming into this year. What specifically have you really seen a guy like Charles Perkins add, with this game? And it seems like his attitude's really infectious as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for Charles, man. His personality is contagious. I mean, he's a guy that's a spark plug. He has a lot of energy, has a lot of juice, smile on his face every single day when you get an opportunity to come work. And we talk a lot about having passion for what you do, right? Because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And his passion is definitely been a huge addition to the room.
When you looked at his tape from Tennessee Martin, what did you see that made you say, hey, this guy can make that jump?
Well, obviously, man, if you look at his body type, he's thick, he's dense build, right? He plays with power, and he's got a lot of twitch and snap to him, which when you're looking for that defensive tackle position, a guy that has that explosion can be a problem for offenses.
With looking at Charles, what have you tried to work to refine him at, with his game coming from UT Martin, and what are you hoping to, going into this summer and into fall, that you're hoping to help him with?
100%. The biggest thing is just continue the consistency of hand usage, right? That is the biggest thing when you talk about just that jump of great defensive linemen use their hands well in the run game, use their hands well in the pass game. So just consistently doing that snap after snap after snap.
We've seen your guys, especially the one in that 3-tech, really getting upfield, and that's caused some problems. Is that maybe a change from how you guys taught things in the last couple of years?
Oh yeah, the biggest thing we talked about heading into this offseason was creating more negative yardage plays, and playing in the opponent's backfield. So we just really talked about just attacking and being aggressive and knock back and playing north and south and just being the aggressor. And so that's one thing that we've harped on every single practice, is just how many negative yardage plays can we create as a defense. So
with that emphasis of going with bigger players at that position, does that mean down the road you're going to maybe need to rely on more of those guys because, bigger guys might need more of a break? Or
well, our philosophy here is we always want to have a rotation, right? I mean, this is big boy football, right? And the way that the conference goes is a lot of smash mouth, and people are leaning on you for 60 minutes plus. So you need to have guys that you can roll and continue to keep guys fresh to play the game the way that we want them to play. We want them to be aggressive. We want them attacking. We want them getting to the football. So you need bodies to be able to do that.
And Coach, if I could ask, something similar about JVR, obviously somebody that's been around, played a lot of football. How has he kind of added some more depth and experience to this group?
Well, the biggest thing is he's extremely twitchy and disruptive, and then obviously, like you said, he's a guy that's played a lot of football. So from a veteran standpoint and that leadership standpoint of a guy that's just a workman, right? Just has a good approach every single day, has been around the block for a while, and that guys can really kind of lean on a lot of that experience.
When it comes to, creating negative plays, TFLs is a big part of it, also sacks. How have you maybe seen this room grow in that department, especially, a bunch of bigger guys where that might not be as, as much expected of them at this point?
Well, again, you just talk about, one, some guys are a little bit more snappy and can be a little bit more disruptive in that regard, but also just that attacking mentality and playing in the opponent's backfield. Naturally, that'll lead into a lot more of the transitional pass rush when you're already 2-3 yards deep. Now I just continue on my path.
Is there a risk to that aggressive mentality? Because I know some teams will maybe say, let's have our D-line kind of stay there and then let the linebackers flow. How do you kind of balance maybe that aspect of being too aggressive versus the aggressiveness that you want?
Well, it's a defensive philosophy, that all the pieces of our defense are playing together as one. So we're going to be aggressive up front. We're going to be aggressive in the second level of our defense, and we are going to be on the attack, right? We don't want to get caught on our heels and be sitting back waiting, right? We're going to go take it to them.
Dylan's added some weight. What kind of stands out to you about what you've seen from him this spring, and just kind of is he kind of giving you the same thing this year as you saw last year?
Well, definitely for Dylan. Obviously, this is his first time going through spring ball. Typically he's cutting weight and doing things like that in wrestling, but he's put that in the back burner and really dove in and focused on football and putting on the mask. And you can tell that it's shown tremendous amount, right? He's about 310, 312 pounds right now, which obviously playing in this league, you need that. You need that size. And again, he's hard to move. You know, he's dense, he's strong, pound for pound, probably one of the strongest guys we got, and it shows. So just excited about just his growth and continued development.
The front seven was where you guys kind of added the most this offseason. When you guys are bringing in that many seniors or upperclassmen, what's kind of the message to the underclassmen that are also trying to fight for Minnesota?
Well, the biggest thing is there's nothing that is given in this program, right? Everything is earned, whether you're a new guy, whether you're a return guy. Every single year and every single day is an opportunity to prove yourself and continue to build your resume within the program. And again, we want to have a multitude of guys to be able to play and keep guys fresh. So just because there's more guys, right, you don't want to run guys into the ground, right? Nobody's a fresh week 12 if you just beat them down. So I think guys checking their egos at the door, right, and understanding that it's a unit and it's not just about me, right, my individual goals. It's about us. And the guys have done a great job of buying into that brotherhood mentality that if one of us is successful, everybody's successful.
I know it's very early, but where have you seen maybe a guy like X, Xavier Ponu, flash a little bit and kind of adjust to this game so far?
Yeah, so with X, I mean, he's extremely strong and powerful. Like I say, the big thing we're going to continue to work is just foot speed, moving our feet and everything like that. But he's smart, he's strong, and he cares. And that's the biggest thing is for a young guy is to be able to show that the willingness not to be afraid to get out there and compete and mix it up, right? Because obviously that guy should be getting ready to go to prom, right? But he has made the decision to be here and he's attacking it every single day. So just looking for his continued growth and development.
Matt Mitchell talked about you guys kind of tag teaming, teaching this front. It's not just the outside linebackers and D-line, kind of tag team. When you are teaching some of those guys like a Darryl or some of the other guys that play that 4 or 5 spot, like what is that process like when you know they're going to be giving up size, but you need them to hold up on the interior for you?
Yeah, the biggest thing you talk about is just your fundamentals. I mean, your hat and hand placement, you're playing with leverage, playing with power, right? Your get off, right? That doesn't change whether you're an outside guy kicking in or an inside guy, right? There's core fundamentals that you play with up front to play the game the right way, and we just really harp on those.
Then Barton, he's back, I think, 6th year. What's, for a guy who's been around that long, what kind of stands out? What's kind of, what have you seen from him at this point?
Well, the biggest thing with Ben heading into this was, one, he wanted to continue to put on mass, so he's put on weight. He's up to about 320 pounds right now. And then just continuing for the game to slow down for him. Obviously, when you're a guy that's played as many snaps as he's played, right, you become like a coach on the field because you've been there, you've done it. And then obviously when you have new guys that you add to the room, right, they can really lean on him, right, as an extension of the staff of how we do things here, right? Hey, we want to do it this way. And he's really, really took that leadership role by the horns and continued to step up in that regard.
For Brandon, someone like Brandon Lane and also Jamel, just how have you seen them grow this spring? What do you like out of them and their growth from what you saw last year?
Yeah, starting with Brandon first, I think he's playing with a lot more confidence. You can tell the game is really kind of slowing down for him, and he's playing with some passion, and he's playing with energy and some edge. So been very pleased with how he's attacked these opportunities this spring. And same with Mel. I think Mel has matured a ton, and it's showing with how he's playing and playing with more confidence. And we just got to continue the upward trajectory and just continue that growth and development.
Ernest was a guy who dealt with the position change kind of late last year. Do you think with the bigger front, do you think this defense is maybe a better fit for him, especially playing off that edge?
Well, for Ernest, like I say, he's on that edge. He spends a lot of time with Coach Mitch, and like I say, those knockback techniques and being a little bit more on the edge, and with his frame and body type, is definitely a better fit for him and what we're doing. And he's made the adjustment. Fantastic.
I know you talk about X, but like someone like Torren Penway, just how coming in only playing not much high school ball, but just how have you seen him try to adapt? Obviously another kid that enrolled early, but how have you seen him this spring?
Oh yeah, I mean you love a guy like Torren when you talk about just that ball of clay, man. When you talk about just not the amount of banked reps that he's had, but he shows up with a worker's mentality, and then he's got a lot of those older guys to be able to lean on and spend extra time with them, whether it's stance, whether it's hand placement, and just understand that, hey, man, you got to be addicted to the process. And so he's done a really, really good job of just showing up every day and working and trying, how much better can I get every single day? And that's all we talk about, right? It's not going to happen overnight, right? It's one of those things where you show up every day, you work hard in the weight room, you work hard at practice, and it's just keep plugging away and breaking rock.
When it comes to Parker, you kind of talked about some of those other transfers having that kind of quick twitchy ability. Is he similar, or does he have maybe a little different skill set he brings to the
So
table?
when you talk about Parker's game, obviously he's a heavy-handed, strong inside guy. He has a wrestling background, plays with really good leverage. He's really, really smart, you know, so you can really throw a lot at him, and he has some good anticipation because of how smart he is. And he plays with an unbelievable hard motor. You know, he's just always hunting and attacking the ball, and he's a guy that is always trying to find a way to get to the pile, right, and get to the ball and take shots. And so just that effort and motor and toughness that he provides. And again, he's another guy that's played a lot of snaps and played a lot of college football, which you can really rely on those experiences.
From a recruiting standpoint, defensive line is one of the harder positions to project from high school to college. With Torren and Xavier, it seemed like you guys went with a couple of bigger-bodied guys. Is that kind of the emphasis going forward to fit with this new defense?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we definitely want to continue to focus on size, mass, right? Again, we talk about every single week. I mean, you're playing big boy football, so you got to have some big dudes with some strength and some power and some mass to them to be able to withstand that every single week, week in, week out. So that is a huge emphasis of just size and mass.
And so just with the difference in philosophy, has anything changed in terms of what you're looking for in recruits? Like how you mentioned, like the change of philosophy of the defense. Just is there any change in the recruiting style?
No, I mean from who they are as people, still the same. You still want tough guys. You still want hard-working guys. You still want guys that are relentless and want to be the best at everything that they do. Right, that hasn't changed. But you're just looking for the length, the mass, just the over physical features when you talk about the D-line.